And that's why you never get stuck in a freezer with three monkeys somewhere in Costa Rica.
I know, man. You would think that with all those bananas around, they wouldn't even bother with the freezer, but who can tell? I
Well,
mean,
we're not really talking about the years from 87 to 93 when there was the great banana drought.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Hey, did
If
you know? Did you know? Just on a side note, every
mm,
single banana you eat is from a hybrid tree that does not grow in nature.
no, I did not know that.
And they're propagated by taking cuttings off of each tree. Because
No, I didn't.
years ago, like for instance, the artificial banana flavor that we get that tastes nothing like a banana,
Hmm.
it used to, but that species of banana died out. And there was some blight. I don't remember what it was. So it tastes like the bananas that used to be up until like the 30s or 40s. But now we have these hybridized bananas. And
Also, bananas used to taste like the candy.
yeah,
Man,
yeah. And that's where they got that artificial flavor from.
well,
Oh, we're live. Hell. Welcome to Banana Chat with your hosts, Eloy Escojedo and Mark Lindsay. What's your favorite way to peel, from the top down or bottom up? Our lines are open. So, what's going on in wonderful sunny Florida?
well, it's. What can I tell you? It's paradise, Mark. I mean, everything that one could hope for as a human being, especially in the 2000s, is here at the picking, at the, what would be the word, at the at your
Right here, close at hand, you know?
close at hand, and the beautiful sun, the skies, um the kindness that people wear on their chest, just the bounty of love and harmony and balance that is South Florida is unparalleled.
Well, I know your tongue was firmly in cheek, and I got the sarcasm that just poured out of that.
Did I overdo it?
Yeah, almost. But, and we tend to shoot down our own locations because we're there, you know. I mean, we see both sides. We see the good, we see the bad, but we tend to notice the bad more than we notice the good. I get it. But I gotta say that in a lot of ways I'm kind of envious of you, of where you are, because there is so much going for it and so much that's different from what I'm dealing with here, you know.
Yeah.
Weather, climate, work, and this, that, the other thing. But there is so much more there that could never be here simply because of location and proximity, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a coastal kind of guy. I love the seashore, but I don't want to live there
Hmm.
simply because I'm used to West Coast seashores. The water's cold, the windiest place on earth. You know, there is basically nothing. You get on a beach in Oregon, and there's basically nothing between you and the Arctic Circle, and that's where the wind comes from. So it's always cold, it's always stormy. 4th of July in San Francisco, you sit in the bleachers and watch the fog change color because you can't see the fireworks. You know they're shooting them up because you can see the fog changing color, but
Yeah.
that's it. So it's a completely different thing
Yeah.
where you're at, you know.
Yeah,
I,
you sound similar to what I was talking about with a family member of my aunt, earlier and stuff. And I was like, well, I don't want to live anywhere that's too hot.
yeah,
But then again, I don't want to live anywhere where it's too cold. I don't want to live somewhere where there's too many mountains, but I don't want to live somewhere where it's completely flat. I don't want to live somewhere where everybody just speaks Spanish. But then again, I don't want to. I want a mixture of languages. And then again, I don't want to live in a place overpopulated, but I don't want to live in a place that's too sparse. And so but I did that on purpose to her just to see what she'd say. And I kept going. I wanted to paint the most contradictive
yeah.
scenario for, and it's like, well, the answer for you is that there's no so
Give
humans
up.
are humans are impossible,
Oh yeah, big time, big time. We
totally.
are. You know, well, our list of wants will never shrink no matter how old we are. We want this, we want that, we want the other. But our list of we don't wants, and it's funny too, when in a former life, I sold real estate. And when I was trying to get a gauge for what type of house to show a couple or even a single person, I would always ask them, okay, what don't you want? Because if you say to somebody, what do you like? They can go in any direction. And half the time they don't know either.
That's true.
But they are certain on what they don't like,
Yeah.
So, do you want a 2-story house? No, I don't want stairs. Okay, that just eliminated a big bunch of homes that I don't have to waste my time showing you
Yeah.
because it's 2 or 3 floors. Things like that,
Yeah.
And I would get that quizzical look when I say, okay, what don't you want in a house? Instead of asking them what they did want it.
But that makes it difficult for them too.
But then I would explain it to them just like I explained it to you. It's easy for you to identify what you don't want, but it can be harder to identify what you do want. Now, we can go down the list, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. That's easy. Do you want hardwood floors? Do you want carpet in the living room? Do you want 2 stories? Do you
want a big
uh,
lion in your lawn, like a statue lion in your lawn?
Well, yeah. Do you want a split floor plan where you've got the master bedroom on the opposite end of the house from the kids' bedrooms?
Do you want pink flamingos on your?
Well, that kind of thing. So you whittle it down from about 4,000 houses down to maybe 60, and then you start thinning it down from there.
I think that's
So,
a better way, because we do know what we don't like.
yes, we can be very certain on what we don't like.
Yeah.
But what we do like, most folks are pretty open. They don't know if they like that color of tile in the bathroom until they see it. But they will immediately know they don't like it. So that's easy. All right. Now I know if there's that color tile, and I've used that, well, now they have this type of shrub out in the front yard. And I know you said you don't like them, but just fair warning. Okay, well, we can look at that, or something like that. So,
I mean, you know what? In terms of those type of things, I guess it depends on the category, but like in situations like of buildings, there is a difference, I think, between you seeing something that doesn't belong to you and looking at it and saying, wow, this is great. But if something is lived in, like you said earlier, things, even the greatest, coolest things, materialistically, let's say, I've noticed throughout life, and it's not like but I've noticed, they lose their shiny, sparkle. There has to be something more to things for me to personally, keep up with that wow of whatever the thing or item or is. I don't know if I make sense with what I'm saying.
No, it makes perfect sense because you can look at something like I show you a house and it's one of the A-frame types. It looks kind of like a ski chalet in the Alps or anything or something like that. And you see this big, a whole bunch of windows. I mean, this big glass facade with this breathtaking view, and you'll stand back and you'll look at it and you go, man, that really looks cool. But you're not living with it, so you don't see me up on a ladder washing windows.
Yeah.
So that you can see that view. So seeing something else in somebody else's house, we can enjoy that wow factor because we don't have to live with it,
Yeah. And then we are enjoying it from our vantage point as a visitor at that moment, and we're taking it in. And so there is an enjoyment factor from that point. The idea of possession can change a lot of those little details that you're mentioning.
Oh,
Once
yeah.
you possess something, there's also the upkeep and this and that.
Exactly. And you see that a lot. I mean, we're both in the maker community and we watch a lot of videos and what have you. And you see folks in the comments, oh, I never would have done that. Let that natural stone stay natural. I never would have covered that with this, that. You really, have you ever tried to keep natural stone clean to where
Yeah.
it doesn't look like 50,000 cobwebs all over it and it's packed with dust from 30 years of neglect? You ever tried to clean natural stone? You would never want to do it again. You'd cover it with paneling too. So,
Yeah. You
it's a
could cover it with
trade-off.
you could cover it with petroleum jelly so that everything can't stick. Like, well, actually, bugs would stick in that. There's no solution. I was trying to find a
Yeah, there
workaround.
there isn't a solution really. You're either
Petroleum
gonna
jelly walls.
dust it once a week with a brush attachment on a vacuum, or you're gonna cover it up or move and let some other poor sap take care of it.
If your walls or your tiling is that
Mhm,
natural stone,
mhm.
you're begging for that sort of situation to occur because
Oh
there's so
yeah.
many little concave in crevices and such that dirt is going to find and stuff is going to find its way
Mhm.
in there.
I'll,
So,
I'll I'll throw you another one: black ceramic tile or black tile of any type.
yeah.
You are going to see every streak, every little piece of dust. You are going to see everything unless you go in, get on your hands and knees and polish it
Yeah.
every time you clean. And when you shake out a towel like this, you're going to see lint fall down and sit on that floor, and it's going to look filthy all the time.
Yeah.
That's why you don't see a lot of black tile, because it's a pain in the rear end to keep up.
Yeah.
So, how we got on this, I have no idea. We kind of went all over the place from bananas to black tile, but that's the kind of thing we do here on the Trampled Underfoot podcast. So,
It's there's a word for it, chain of boy, there's a word for it where not a chain of subconscious. There's a word for that. Association, loose association,
oh yeah,
conversation that leads us down many paths and stuff.
I call it my consciousness heading out on a day pass, and it'll be back before the street lights come on. I hope, because I may need it later. So, but you'll say something and I'll catch it and then just free associate from there. There's
Yeah.
not at all what I had intended to talk about. But Greg makes a good point here. Log cabin is a spider house. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, they look great from the outside. And uh, I don't know if you've ever rented a cabin like at a lake or something like
I've
that.
lived no, not lived. I have stayed at a cabin. A
Yeah.
couple I've stayed at a couple of cabins.
And they're very cool, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to live in one all the time and try to keep that up. I mean, God, all that exposed wood. It's not just set it and forget it. It's kind of like a swimming pool. You don't just dive in and not do any maintenance or upkeep. You have to constantly work at it to keep it
Maintain.
swimmable.
Yeah.
You know, um, y- uh, when we first moved back up here, I wanted to get a boat. And the more I thought about all the maintenance and all the care and all the this and that and the other, I finally decided that the easiest, in fact, the best way to have fun on a boat is to make friends with somebody who owns a boat. Then you don't have to worry about all that other junk.
Yeah.
You can't go out whenever you want, but you can go out enough to make it worthwhile. So, I just don't want the hassle.
I like that there's something to be said about vicariously enjoying stuff. Like, I guess this ties into vicariously enjoying stuff, or that sort of general, because it is. I like watching videos of people sailing around the world. I think it's such a cool thing, and I could picture myself in that role.
Mhm.
But when it comes down to the reality of it, I don't know that I would like it that much that I would have to do all the work involved in order to get that
Yeah.
gig rolling. But I
Yeah.
like the idea.
Oh, sure. And it's great to live vicariously through other folks like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know, well, in fact, I know that I wouldn't want to do it because it's just way too much work. You're only seeing this bright sunny days when they can anchor off into a cove, and throw on the bathing suit and dive overboard and swim with the dolphins and stuff like that. You're not seeing the days where it's dark and stormy and they don't know if they're going to make the next landfall.
Yeah.
You're not seeing the days where it's boring. They're going from point A to point B and absolutely nothing's going on. Not another vessel in sight. And it's like, no, just hold on. We're moving. Come on, wind. That kind of thing. So,
do you think you had something that you wanted to share that was, now we have Snow Crusher, Robin, JP, we have Steve, who else we have?
Linda. Les Clemens, I saw him earlier. Yeah.
So we could drop,
okay, we can do that.
But you did have something to that you wanted to share. Does it work into what we're talking about?
Yeah, it works. Well, it kind of may.
Okay.
We will see. But I'll go ahead and post a link over here in the chat if somebody wants to join us.
This is open session, so folks that want to join us just to chat, kick back and talk, you're welcome to it. You'll pop into our green room, and then we'll bring you in, and we can have a casual little happening.
So there is the link right there in the chat. Just click on the link, and it'll ask you to enter a name, and you just hop on in. You'll be on camera with us, and just enjoy the ride. Okay. I did have a topic, and that might eliminate a few people who are thinking about it, or it might encourage somebody to jump in. And the topic is, well, let me ask you this about that. What do you think, as in a general sense, of cover bands or cover songs?
Just generally that?
Just generally. What do you think of somebody covering somebody else's tune? All on the up and up with permission and all that other good stuff, all things being equal.
I enjoyed some of the big I'm kind of biased with so some of the old school bands that would cover other bands. I kind of dug those people doing certain tracks. So as long as it's part of their itinerary, their routine, one song or another is fine. Let's bring in, as long as it's part of their itinerary,
there it is. Turn your radio down. No swearing allowed. How
we're
goes
hearing
it
a little
today?
echo. There we go. Oh, your YouTube,
You'll need to mute your
feed.
YouTube, yeah.
You're gonna need to mute that one and just listen to us through the this here. You have one and just listen to us through the. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you have your YouTube feed, which is delayed, and then you're in here as well. So just mute the YouTube feed, and so then that way you'll listen to us live here and not have that echo that we have to deal with.
Have you got it, Les? Hello?
What's going on? Is it me that's causing all the racket?
Yeah, you'll need to mute the YouTube page. Mute the audio on YouTube.
I'm going to just turn the video or turn the audio down on my speakers. How's that?
Okay, well, you'll want to be able to hear us, though.
Can you hear us? Because you're going to hear us twice. One delayed about 10 to 20 seconds, and then us live here right now. So you want to turn off the what you call the actual YouTube video or mute it or whatnot, and then just listen to us here from inside the studio channel.
I got a better idea. I'll just put on my headphones. How's that?
Okay,
but you're going to hear us twice. I mean, that's just busy.
So as you were saying,
okay, well, when it comes to cover tunes, okay, I wanted to get your attitude on that. Some of them I agree. Some of them are better than the original. Some of them are not so good. This is kind of a roundabout, convoluted thing, so bear with me for just a minute. And but before I go that way, I wanted to say hi to Les. You're right up the road from me in Oregon, aren't you? He can't hear me. Okay,
in
never mind.
20
Yes, sir.
seconds.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, I hear you. Can you hear me? This is a
Okay, we're
professional
doing good.
production. All right, you can hear me? You can hear me okay, Les?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything's-
All right.
But wait,
It's a
let
little
me
delayed.
okay, so Les, I'm just gonna add, and by the way, hello. I just want to see if we can get the delay bit sort of put past us. It appears that you're listening to us on the delay side because it's the audio that's coming from the YouTube live channel, but you're in the studio with us
On StreamYard.
contemporaneously. And what happens is that you're catching both of our audios, one delayed and one not, or something to that effect. If you were to just stay with us here inside this studio link, you could not only hear us live so we can interact without that delay, um, but yeah, that's the point. Does it make sense where I'm at? You know, where I'm going with that?
So basically either mute the YouTube side or close the YouTube side
Yeah, I know
and
what
see
happened
what this
to
is.
Mark. Yeah.
Huh?
All you got to do is
All right, so I'm going to close this.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, oops. Yep. That was where we are. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
let me just explain it again, although I know I did, but it's okay. We're just so when you come in, folks, what happened when you come into to the link is an actual live representation with no delay where we interact, but that non-delay actually actually goes out with a 20-second, oh, whatever. You guys get the point, right?
welcome to You Bet Your Life. Say the secret word, and Eloy will drop off a magic box in your living room. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Howdy, Jamie.
How you doing?
Oh man, too crazy, too crazy.
I've been watching Eloy's videos online, so I just need to change my name. There you go.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if Les is Les, do you hear us real time?
I'm thinking I do now.
That's
All
awesome.
right.
That is, yeah.
Perfect.
All
Perfect.
right, I just closed the link on the computer and just went with the cell phone. How's that?
Okay. Yeah, you
Okay.
had us up on both. So
Yeah.
you were getting the audio from both, and that's what we were trying to say. Mute it on YouTube. So
Oh, okay.
well, good evening.
Now I got to position my phone to where you can see me instead of just my head or my background. There we go. How's that?
That's
All
great.
right.
Much better.
That's excellent. Les is in Oregon, up the road from me about, what would you say, about 3 hours?
Yeah, a little less than that.
Yeah. Okay. In fact, he lives in the same town my aunt lives in, my dad's sister.
That's pretty
Yeah.
funny. Up the road in the UK is like 15 minutes.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
that's about how long it takes. No, I'm kidding. But you also got to remember that up the road in the UK, that 15 minutes is like 4 blocks.
Very true.
Because of the traffic.
Very true.
So,
well, it's
man.
I-5. You know, it's an I-5 4-lane highway all the way down to Medford.
Mhm.
I say down because I'm upstate. I'm actually in the center of the state, and he's down there in the southern part of the state. And it's, you know, it's not a bad drive. You know,
No.
a good solid 3 hours, you'll be at Mark's house.
Yeah. And I stay down here this close to the California border because I figure I can keep an eye on those people from up here.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
Mhm. You know, the mountains kind of weed some of them out. You know, not all of them are going to brave coming over the mountains, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Everybody always knocks California, and California's got such great that I remember. I know I mentioned it.
You're not allowed to knock California because it's illegal.
They what? They what?
You're not allowed to knock California because it's illegal.
It's
In
illegal
California.
in California. No, but and I haven't been to Oregon, so I would not know. But I've seen a lot of videos that are awesome, like nature and whatnot, and just an unbelievable. But when I lived in California for a short spell, I've mentioned it a lot. It was the climate. Over here, you sweat all the time. In Miami, you're always sweating. The climate, the mountains, the ocean with the cliffs. I'm just the food. It was freaking awesome. I don't know how it is nowadays, but man, that was such a great. Just
It's
everything.
it's basically as you describe it, just with more people now, because that was a few years ago. When did you go back to Florida?
Oh, it's been 20 years.
Oh yeah, there's like double the population. But I mean, as a region, geographically speaking, California is beautiful. It is. It's beautiful. It's the people that I have a problem with. And that's all there is to it, because there's so stinking many of them, all in one place. So you think it's bad in Miami fighting for a parking spot, just for you get a flat tire on the freeway in Southern California, you just put a for sale sign on the car and walk, and that's about it.
Let me ask this question. I know that we've mentioned this before in the past, but in your respective areas, for the three of you, how is the temperature of the water by the ocean? And have you ever jumped in there for the heck of it?
Cold and yes.
Ditto, cold and yes. You got to remember the wind isn't the only thing that comes down from the Arctic Circle. So do the currents. And so if the water temperature hits 55 degrees, it's a
hot.
warm day. Yeah, it's a warm day. Mm-hmm. It's, going to the beach and the thought of getting in the water was punishment as a child. Yes, I did jump into it once. And that was the name of that tune. West Coast beaches are.
Let me tell you about our beaches. Surfing is absolutely fantastic up here in this country if you've got a wet or a dry suit on, and it's real popular. And you go over to the beach around Astoria in that area, you'll see a lot of surfers out there, but it is cold. I mean, extremely cold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about
see a lot of one-eyed pirates as well?
Just about.
How about your so with the suit, but you have your head exposed, and I would assume your hands and maybe your feet.
Those people are wearing booties. They're wearing divers gloves, and they've got a neoprene, the hood, the whole thing. Only thing that's exposed is their face.
Yeah. Okay. So it's doable like that.
Yeah.
In the UK, a couple of things. So there's been a tradition. I'm not sure how long it's been on for, but on Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas, everybody goes down to the local beach and just swarms into the sea. I don't know how it started. I don't know why it started. Some crazy man probably started it, but there's been snow on the ground and people still do it.
You think they were thinning the herd for the new year?
Maybe. There's also a hospital where I live called Sea Bathing Hospital. It's been open for thousands of years, and they actually used to use it to put people in freezing cold water years and years ago to try and cure people from different diseases or slow the process of different diseases. It's since not open for I dread to think how many years.
But we're talking about 1800s, right?
Now. Oh yeah. Back in them sort of years.
Oh, and before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because out here they treat hot springs the same. It's if you come and get into this hot spring because the water's got a high sulfur content, it'll cure this and this and this, and this one's got a high mineral content, so it'll cure this, that, and the other. So
Yeah.
it's I don't know.
Well, on the reverse of that, if you want to die quickly, you just drink water out the Thames.
Yeah, well, okay, there is that.
Where do you draw your water from?
The Thames.
Yeah. Then it somehow gets filtered.
Yeah.
Because I live real close to the sea. It's all our water's really chalky.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't taste very nice, to be honest.
Where's that river? The Thames runs east to west, kind of, sort of, right?
I don't know. I was never.
Yeah,
good at
more or
geography.
less east to west. Yeah.
Well, the question is, what's the source of it? Because
You got the Thames estuary, which is
okay,
I can't think where that is now, off the top of my head.
okay, no, and you guys get a lot of freaking rain too. So
Hey, it's called Thames.
Well, that's when we've got a drought at the moment, so we have something called a hose pipe ban. I don't know if you have that in the States.
no.
So if we have a lot of hot summers and not a lot of rain, they say you ain't using your hose pipes, or use as little as water as possible. So for example, if I don't know, if you use your water to wash up with, for example, why not use the rest of that water that you've used to do your dishes to go and have a wash with? They basically tell you to ration your water.
Yeah, that happens a lot in California. They'll put a ban. You cannot water your lawns or your garden.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do this, can't do that, can't do the other. No car washing or anything like that. You can go to a car wash that recycles their water, but you can't go out with a hose in the driveway and wash your car. Things like that. That happens almost annually. It's not every year, but when they get into dire straits, they do that quite often. So
we don't have that problem up here.
No.
There's no water shortage. I've yet to be rationed water up here.
We haven't either. Being further south than you guys get a lot more rain than we do. We get our share, believe me, but we get enough, but we still have red flag days where you can't burn, or no fires except for cooking fire, this, that, and the other, because it's just so dry.
All you need to keep yourself hygienic is a Dixie cup size of water a day, shavings, like with a cheese grinder or what, shavings of soap that you keep in a little, in like a little handful, right? And a napkin to dry yourself off. In reality, you could one human being could use a Dixie size cup. You just take a little bit, splash, rub, wipe off, and continue. That's all you need. You don't need to.
Dude, I've done it. You're talking to somebody who was in the Army. I can tell you.
I'm joking.
I can tell you how to bathe in that size cup.
Yeah, me too.
You start with the cleanest part of your body, which is usually your face. You take your cloth, dunk it in there, wring it out, start up at your face, and you wash down as far as you can.
That is a military thing. You had mentioned.
Then you start up at your down at your ankles, and you wash up as far as you can. Last, you wash your can.
Makes sense.
That's it.
And by the way,
and do it for 30 days. I mean, that's what you did.
And by the way, if you preserve all that water back into that cup, you can grab a colander and filter out as many impurities.
Well, if you can filter it out in a colander, you have bigger problems than being short on water. All right?
I know, right?
In the colanders, it's got like a clump of hair and stuff.
Yeah, well,
All right, sorry. Continue.
No, but that's the case. I mean, it's doable, but
coffee.
you wouldn't want to. You know, it's just like you can live off of insects for the rest of your life. But would you want to? No. Yeah, Jim Dockrell. They make coffee with your water. No.
You
You
could
know,
live off of insects for the rest of your life.
there are a lot of people who eat insects
Mhm.
now. I mean, just cultures around the world that eat insects regularly.
Yeah.
Personally, I've never been that hungry, but who am
We've
I to
got game
judge?
shows about it.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
who am I to judge? So
Well, I mean, if you need to eat and there's nothing but in fact, I just had an insect fly right into my. I'm not tempted. I'm gonna kill it, but
yeah,
He's
really, you know,
definitely in, he's definitely in Florida.
mhm. Yeah.
yeah. Oh no,
Yeah,
no,
but they
Yeah,
don't have insects. They have insects. I mean, they have the
Yeah.
kind that you can put a saddle on and ride home.
well, this
I
is
mean,
the
Yeah.
they're
environment
serious.
for
They've
it.
got tattoos and jack boots.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
environment for it. To be honest with you, I
Yeah.
mean, my goodness.
And you see cockroaches in Miami with a bottle of vodka and a flick knife. I mean, you're in trouble. So
Oh, the other day, let me share this with you guys and stuff. And maybe you have some weird stories you'd like to share. I'll share this. The other day, I was, or actually, it was yesterday. I was in here working on a video, and I'm very, I'm concentrating very much on that for a long time. But at some point, I'm wrapping up, and I, I heard like a very low melodic whistling in my left ear, and but I heard it once, and I was like, oh, I don't know, whatever. And I'm focused on what I am, but it came back a few times. But it sounded like I was hearing things. And you know how they say, like, when people start hearing things, they might just be going nuts and stuff. But it was really real and it was melodic. And I looked around, I even looked under, okay, I started looking under books. Maybe, I don't know what I was thinking. Is there like a little whistle that's being like
in the book.
it's some sort of weird, maybe it's like I don't know, but I was looking because it was very prevalent in my, until like it took a little bit. I realized there was a cat outside my window crying just low enough that I could not make sense of it. I thought I was going freaking nuts, dude, or I had some sort of like I was receiving some sort of like radio signal through my dentures or something. Or
Getting a
not,
radio station
my
from Savannah.
cavity, whatever.
Yeah. Oh
We
man.
had something quite similar to that. So my parents bought some like cat deterrents. Like humans aren't supposed to hear it. So
Mhm.
you walk past them and it'll give off some like, noise that cats can hear, and it'll stop them from doing their
Yeah.
business all over the garden. So I'm walking around and all of a sudden I hear this buzzing noise. And I'm like, what's that noise? Like, what gone in? Nothing. And I come back in. I said, well, Dad, oh, there's some weird noise going on out there. It's like some like weird humming. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, come out here. And he goes, I can't hear nothing. I said, look, it's coming from over there. He goes, you idiot. Look, we just bought these. I was like, oh, thanks for telling me.
Oh yeah, because if there's information lacking and you're introduced to something that's not quite, visual or audio, but it's lingering, that can drive somebody's, you can go insane trying
Yeah.
to figure out what's going on. Yeah.
Yesterday came in from the shop, came in here, and I no sooner sat down than I started hearing a whistle.
No
And I
way.
thought, oh great, what's going on? So I heard it and no big deal. But then all of a sudden it kept going and kept going and kept going. And I'm like, oh no, I hope it's not like a fan on the air conditioner or the compressor on the freezer or the fridge or something like
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
And I come out of this room and go down the hallway and it's getting louder and it's getting louder. The closer I start getting to the fridge, walk to the fridge. Nope, that's not it. Walk over to the freezer. Nope, that's not it. I get to the freezer and I can, all of a sudden it's outside. I thought, oh no, the air conditioning unit is going out. Open up the door and it's my next door neighbor out there with a leaf blower on his patio.
Oh, wow, dude.
Running it. And it's like the insulation and the distance was just enough to where I couldn't hear a motor, but I could hear the whistle. And
That's
it's like, oh
trippy.
no, what's breaking now? It's man, I hate things like that. But it's one of those things where I hear a funny noise or smell a funny smell. I got to go investigate because that ain't right. Something's not normal. Let's find out what it is and how much it's going to cost to fix it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Do you have any weird sort of noise situations that have happened in the past, Les?
Oh no, just water coming out of my my mini split,
Oh,
which
great.
yeah, that kind of, it took me a month to get the thing installed because I'm not the fastest guy in the world at my age anymore. Anyway, come to find out that the hose for the drain in the darn thing, which is buried up there in the fan unit, had come loose. Now, how am I going to get it on back attached? Oh, yeah. So I got to pull the thing completely off the wall.
That sucks.
And then to figure out how I'm going to get my hand back in there to get this thing hooked back up to the. What happened was when it goes through the wall, it makes a pretty sharp bend and then goes down, and mine's on an inside wall. So I ran it down through the floor and then outside. So I had to take all that loose where I put it inside the closet, all the piping, take it all loose and get enough slack in that thing to pull it back, to put it back onto the connection where the drain is. And, this time I got smart. I put a hose clamp on it, so it ain't coming off again.
Yeah.
And it's things like that, that bug me. It wasn't leaking before. Why is it leaking now?
Changing
Or
humidity.
Or there's another one that gets me is you go to the ice maker, you get a cup of ice, and there's a demon in that refrigerator, I swear. You get a cup of ice and you don't know whether you're going to get crushed ice or cubed ice, one of the two. It's a 50-50, and I can't find any way to fix it.
Do you guys,
It's things like that that just drive me nuts.
do you guys in over there in England, is like ice in your drinks something that is typical, or is it something that's not?
Yeah, we usually have to go and you do get fridges with built-in ice dispensers and all that sort of stuff. But usually we just go and buy a bag rather than make our own.
But
Really?
But when you go out and whatnot, do you at restaurants and stuff, is ice a thing? Like, I know there's places, I don't know if it's true, but some places that
Not
ice
really.
is not.
No, not really.
Okay.
So go to the States and automatically you're greeted with a big jug of water and all that kind of stuff. You don't get that over here.
You
Yeah,
were
that's-
greeted with water?
Well, when you sit down at a restaurant, you
not
get
usually.
ice water.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
he came out of the airport and like they brought him water. Here you go, sir.
Yes, the American water ferries met him before customs and handed him,
Yeah.
No, because that's how it says he arrived.
and 2 bottles of Evian and an
Here
ice.
you go, sir.
Something else that was pretty foreign to me when it came to eating at restaurants as well is we don't tip over in the UK.
I've heard that. You don't tip when you get over here either.
No,
I'm teasing.
what you pay is what you pay.
Yeah. Well,
You know.
that is and I don't understand it. Still, for the life of me, I don't understand it. They say that is how they keep the prices of food in restaurants down, because they pay their wait staff minimum wage plus tips. So that's basically how they make their money, is off of tips, because minimum wage just isn't much at all.
No.
So they try to go the extra mile to try to entice you into tipping them. Whereas
maximum
in Europe,
wage
it's
either.
not that way.
But
No,
the catch
sure.
on that is that the waitress has to claim that as income. She has to pay income tax on it.
Right.
Now, if you don't tip, then they're still going to get nailed for a percentage of the ticket that they wrote for the meal. So they're going to, whether you tip them or not, they're still going to get nailed for income tax on a tip that they didn't get.
It depends on the state. More often than not, every place I've ever worked at, you fill out a tip slip on the money you actually received. And
Yeah.
then it's withheld from your paycheck for that amount. So you will get taxed on the money you received. And most folks actually put down how much they actually received. But I do know people who, I made $50, I'm writing down 10. You know,
Yeah.
it happens. It happens a lot.
So tipping in America, I don't know where else outside of I don't know where else in the Americas that might be the case. But I know in the United States, broadly speaking, tipping is a thing. And then when folks come from Europe and whatnot, and I remember because I used to work, a portion of my pay was through tips when I was working as a tour guide.
Mhm.
And I know that some groups of people were previously informed of the customs and they kept that in mind. So there was an attempt in many cases to
Well,
sort of, balance that out, but um, a lot of times not.
Having been on both sides of the tipping coin, no pun intended, people, somebody who doesn't tip doesn't bother me. People don't tip all the time, and it's Americans mainly. But so if somebody comes here and they don't know the custom, they don't know the protocol, what have you, and they don't tip, no problem. I've never had an issue. And in fact, anytime I was in a supervisory role, my policy was the word tip should never leave your lips while you're on the clock. I don't want to hear you talking about it, because that is extremely low class, and it is seen as an enticement to try to get somebody who normally wouldn't tip to tip you, or somebody who would tip to tip more.
I'll share one of the worst things that I think I did among many when I was working for tips. We got off the boat. I got off the boat. I tied it off, and I started to have each row come off the tour. I'm not going to tell you what group it was. We'll leave that for your imaginations. And but they were from a tour group, so they were all from one geographic location, and they're all come off the boat, and no tip, no tip, no tip, no tip, no tip. And I'm standing there. And by the way, we used to say, "We thank you for we hope you enjoyed yourself." I'm paraphrasing because I forget now. It's been a while. And tips are greatly appreciated, and so which they do make up a portion of our salary, our income. And but then one guy comes off and he hands me some coinage, and I grab the coinage. He hands it to me, and I look, and it's like 3 or 4 pennies. And I looked without moving I'm looking at him, and the dock is right there. I went and flicked the 4 pennies straight into, looking at him directly, and the 4 freaking pennies dropped in the water. Man. And I'm looking straight at him, and the pennies drop in the water, which is quite the insult, if you would,
oh yeah, I'd have written you up. You might have got fired over it.
just like that. Just like that.
Yep. Well,
they might have been rare coins though. You didn't even look.
Yeah,
at them.
you may have thrown away $30,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty good at sussing out what a penny, what a penny, non-copper penny looks like.
Well, we all have little things. I mean, living
I'm not
over.
proud of it. I'm not proud of it, by the way. I'm sorry for cutting off.
No.
But I did mention it out loud because it's, in the life of a human being, sometimes we do things that are not that grateful, but you get pissed, right? You get pissed, you're in the hot sun, and then you get 3 pennies. It's like, that's the least I could have done. Anyways.
We were supposed to just put it in our pocket and not even look at it. And just say, thank you very much, and tap it twice on the counter or the machine or whatever to indicate to the cameras that it was a tip. Put it in your pocket, and not even, acknowledge a dollar amount. And you don't stand there and count it. That's low.
But in our case, we were tour guides. So, we had
understood. I'm talking about working in a casino environment. So.
Yeah.
Which casino?
I was working at a restaurant at one point, And during my trial period, I was getting tips from various people. It didn't happen often, but there was a tip jar if we did receive it, and we all basically shared the tips. And one of the managers come up and told me that I wasn't entitled to it because I was due in my trial period. I was like, oh, well, fair enough. News that I didn't stay in that job very long. They basically dressed me up as a bear and put me in with a load of kids, and I felt uncomfortable. So I was like,
No,
yeah.
you did not. You dressed up as a bear.
Yeah, I dressed up as something called Brewster the Bear, which is part of the Brewers Fair. And they put me in the play area, and I felt so uncomfortable. I come out of the play area, took the bear suit off, and I said, "There's my notice. Don't ever make me do that again."
I don't think there's a high retention rate for wearing a bear suit as a job. I mean, that's a very difficult.
We all had to take turns in doing it.
I was going to say that's part of the weeding out process.
There's something.
What I hate is there's a place here. It's called well, let's put it this way. It's a teriyaki place where you go get teriyaki to go, and they have this software on their checkout, which is kind of software which I hate because it's Apple product. But anyway, you put your card in there to pay for it before you leave, and there's a screen that comes up wanting to know how much you're going to tip that person. Well, in the first place, I phoned the order in. I walked into the place to get my order, and I don't know. Do I have to tip them for doing their job, which is expected to? But that just fries me that they want to tip when they actually didn't do anything to earn it. And you can't get by the screen, 10%, 15%, and they got different percentages on there, and I hate it. I just loathe it.
Okay, so that scenario that you're describing is problematic because you're being confronted with this option, and there's no service on that level for that to be, even a thing.
There's no opt-out screen, no thanks, or something like that.
No, and I just usually just walk away.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there.
I've paid for my order. I walk away, and they can figure out what they're going to do. But I checked my Visa card, and there's not been any tips on it, so I guess we're all right.
When it comes to restaurants, everybody tips everybody. The waitress gets tipped by the customer. The waitress then tips the busboy and the cook. The cook tips the dishwasher. So it all filters around and goes through.
Yeah.
So, because everybody takes a part. Everybody has a part in getting that meal out the door. So, and it's
the same with Uber Eats. So I've used the website Uber Eats to buy stuff for people in the States before, and that comes out of so you place your order, and then it takes you to another screen and asks you about tips and all that sort of stuff, and you can't skip that. It comes up with how much percentage you want to tip and all that sort of stuff. So I just click the lowest. Is that the guy gets paid by Uber Eats to drive?
Yeah.
He doesn't get paid by, I don't know, let's say for argument's sake, Taco Bell.
On the other hand, if that teriyaki place would have delivered it to my door, I would have definitely tipped them.
Yeah,
exactly.
So tip the driver.
Yeah.
Linda is talking about, and I remember this gig, her pipe band was piping at a local bar. And they were told they would be paid $300 for the gig. They set out a tip jar to help their youngest bagpiper buy his first set of pipes, kind of lighten the load. After they finished the gig, the owner asked how much they got in tips. Turned out his $300 was including the tips. So they made a total of $300 for the night.
Oh, wow. It wasn't. Sucky.
So, he deducted the tips they got from the fee that he paid them and didn't bring that up until after the fact.
Sure. Be the
Now,
last time they go there.
needless to say, that was 3 years ago, and they've not been back, not even to order food. So, and they've been invited a couple of times, and they've just said, "Yeah, thanks, but no thanks."
On the heels of that, I know this was more common way back in the day, maybe early part of the 19th century, throughout the 19th century, throughout the 20th century, 19th century. Listen to me. Throughout the 20th century, where people would play live, and you'd go to bars, and you'd go to restaurants, and you'd go to clubs.
Mhm.
I know throughout the 60s you had cafes and such, and there was revivals of that throughout the decades. But like, I don't know, because I'm not like painting the town much, but it seems like through the past decade you don't see a lot of live perform. There used to be rock and roll bands playing all the time, and this and that. I don't like local, like, just, not big numbers.
Yeah.
I'm talking about just a tradition. I don't see that much going
There's
around.
I've noticed that as well around here, and I've heard that from other people. A lot of regulations have been put into place, and people just, there's entertainment taxes that the club or the bar has to pay. Oh, you've got live music, well, you got to pay this. So they were forced to raise their prices to cover that tax from the county or the city or whatever jurisdiction it was. Plus, they got to pay the musician. Now, a lot of places would raise their prices if they had a band or if they had a performer there, because they have to pay the performers.
Right.
So that's understandable. But when you have the powers that be seeing that as a revenue source, a lot of people just said, no, we're not going to have live music anymore.
Yeah, they're trying to bleed.
That's still going on all over the place down there, but it's
Yeah.
a seaside resort, so
Yeah,
we need people to come to the seaside.
sure.
And it's everywhere.
Now, what is the attitude toward busking out there? Do you see it a lot or no?
You do see it a lot. Usually not really in the town where I'm at. There's a place called Canterbury. You see it quite a bit there. I don't think anyone really cares. It kind of depends where they're doing it. But if you're causing an interference, like you obviously get street performers that aren't making a load of noise. Like you get the weird statues that are standing on a walking stick, like 50 foot up in the air.
Yeah.
But you get people with drawing pictures on the pavement, and as long as they're not causing interference, then no one really cares.
Okay.
But if they're in the middle of, let's say, the London Underground, right in the middle of the walkway, then there's going to be a bit of trouble, and they'll be asked to move along.
Yeah, just because they're blocking traffic, basically.
Yeah.
Now, you've done a little bit of busking in your time, Eloy, right?
I have.
Have you ever had the owner of a business or wherever you set up, just open up your guitar case and start playing, and people throw a few coins your way or a few bills or what have you? You ever have an owner of a business come out and say, I need 50% of that because you're using my business?
I've not had someone try to scam money from me busking. I bust in California, here in Miami, in Mexico. We drove down to a place. I've never had that, but we did drive down. A weird thing. We drove down to Mexico, and I brought my guitar, and all I knew and kind of know is like rock and roll songs, right? So, but we're in this environment, and it's a Mexican sort of like, it's a restaurant slash gathering hall. It's strange. I can't even quantify it. But I went up to perform, and all I had was rock and roll songs. And but this was a very like, if you could play some mariachi or some tunes it would have been more appropriate. But I started busting out with like 50s rock and roll, good golly, Miss Molly, with the guitar, just the acoustic guitar. And I felt, as I was performing it, I could see everybody just staring. and I'm rocking out. And it was so surreal for me. And when I finished, like they did clap.
Uh-huh.
It was a control, like it's not very like usually when you play somewhere, it's like, yeah, all right, cool. It was like
You got the golf clap.
it was so weird, dude. It was I left there, I felt cringy. I felt like as I walked out. It was so weird. I felt like, why did I bring my guitar? None of this matches. You know, in your mind, you have a certain thing. But yeah, I used to play out in on Santa Monica on the 3rd Street Promenade.
Mhm.
I even had my license because over there and over here you need one. But if you don't have one, they really don't mess with you over here. But over there it was like a requirement. You needed
Yeah, had to be on
and-
display and stuff. Yeah.
so I did do that, but my repertoire was strictly 1950s and 60s get rock and roll.
Mhm.
And there's so much that used to be the repertoire, but like that's all I really had, so you had a limited, so you can't quite fit that in every situation.
Mhm.
But yeah, busking used to be here on the beach.
Mhm.
I used to go on the beach on the weekends and just myself and my acoustic guitar, and I'd sit on Ocean Drive in different locations, and I'd bring a little milk crate
Mhm.
because I wanted it to be authentic, like you're struggling for it.
Uh-huh.
And I was young, and they'd give me money. I'd open up my case, and
Mhm.
they'd drop money in there throughout the night. I'd come out with money, a lot of coins, but I was making money, dude, for a young kid. And one time I sat in front of the Versace mansion
Mhm.
on Ocean Drive.
Yeah.
And I'm playing, and I'm doing blues like it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm
Mhm.
sweating because it's hot here, and I'm starting to garble. So people are walking, right? And if you're starting and finishing a song, but really at the end of the day, nobody's listening to the whole song. Maybe some people
Yeah.
stop, but it's just traffic. And so in my mind, I'm saying they're dropping money, and they're just walking by and dropping money because they like the idea that someone's busking, but they're not stopping. They're just dropping money because they're saying, "Oh well." And so as the night went on, I started getting a little bit more like growling my voice. I embodied a 1920s Mississippi Delta blues man at the end of the evening. And what happened was that I'm all really cruddy and this and that. And my friend and his girlfriend walked by and turned their heads and looked at me, and they said, "Eloy?" And they leaned over. "Eloy, come on, let's come with us. Let's go, Eloy." I felt like such a dirtbag because the impression they had was that I was doing this because I had no other choice. I was doing it for the experience of it, but in their eyes, and I felt so embarrassed. I said, "No, dude." I said, "No, no, no, you don't get it." He says, "No, you can tell me later. Come on, let's go." I said, "No, no," because there's lots of people and stuff. I said, "No, dude, I'm doing this because I want to do this." And he stepped back, and his girlfriend, she's kind of normal about it, but he was shocked.
Uh-huh.
And eventually he understood, and he
Uh-huh.
went on his way, but it was so embarrassing. Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
man.
you think about people like James Blunt. That's how they started off, with just being a busker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's quite a
You
few.
know?
There's quite a few. C6 Steve cut his teeth.
Not James Blunt. The other guy. James Blunt was in the military. I'm trying to think. Ed Sheeran. That's what I'm
Ed
thinking of.
Sheeran. Okay, yeah. There's quite a few of them that have moved up from busking to making a name for themselves. C6 Steve cut his teeth in San Francisco and up in Seattle, out on the streets playing.
We just last one. Me and a friend. I dragged a friend to do one early on, and I said, "Come on, dude, we're rock and rollers." And he says, "Well, I don't, dude. We're rock and rollers, dude." But we didn't have no place to do, so we ended up in front of the Latin American cafeteria, somewhere around here where the environment does not fit the rock and roll. Hear me out. So we went there. There's nobody there, and we stand in front of the cafeteria, and we start playing rock and roll. And like there's old Cuban guys smoking cigars, drinking, and they're turning around and looking at us. And says, one guy appreciated it enough that he dropped us a 20. This was like years and years ago. And me and my friend, we looked at each other. Dude, you see what I mean? Yeah, let's go. We had $20 in our hand.
$20 is $20.
Well, but the point is, the environment didn't fit the situation.
Yeah.
But we did get a $20 bill back then from it. So I guess the guy was probably like, look at these kids. They are making an effort. Let's drop them a 20. It'll make them happy.
Maybe they'll go away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll go.
Did you stop?
We stopped. We finished the number and we packed up and left. We had $20. We went and ate some food. Cringy stuff, man. But I'm glad we did it. What the hell?
I mean, for the experience. I mean, you've got a story, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So, bam.
Blind Lemon Eloy.
Yeah, Blind Lemon Eloy. So now I'm not musical enough to even attempt to do anything like that. But that I imagine it takes a little bit of guts, a little bit of courage to go out there and just put yourself out there in front of everybody in public and just do what you do. This is not a paying crowd that's paid money to come and see you. You're putting yourself out there, whether people want to hear you or not. So I would imagine it takes a little bit more guts to do that than to take a gig.
It's nerve-wracking when you get up, and because we played bars and different places, clubs and different places, and anytime you get up and you play, or I do, what if you're not really if you haven't done it for a while, when you do get up, your guitar feels like it's not where it's supposed to be. It's like miles away from you.
Yeah.
And you feel like your hands are like these big like sausages and stuff. So it's like you're not, because you're dealing with the reality that you're doing this gig and there's people watching you, and you're sort of like an outer body. You have to sort of control that stuff and sort of just do your job. But it's not, it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It really is, dude. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All I can play is a stereo, and I'm good at it. But
I haven't done that for like decades. So it's been decades.
Do you think you could ever do it again?
I was asked to do, like a year and a half to 2 years ago, a friend of mine, a really badass drummer from Miami, he said, dude, our lead singer, we can't, something happened. And he said, you can sing and we want you on board and it's a paying gig and this and that. And I said, well, dude, I haven't done it in quite a while, and you sure do have a lot of stuff. Yeah, we know your stuff, man. We've heard you, and we know. I said, yeah, but well, send me the roster, send me the list of the songs that you want me to sing, because I'm usually used to playing guitar and singing. It's not like I'm a singer. I'm a guitar player that accompanies with singing in order to get it across. So he says, sure, I'll send it to you. It's gonna be great, dude. And I said, okay, I'll look. He sends me the freaking list, and dude, the singers he wanted me to like imitate were like the dude from Journey, freaking Boston, like all the top, Freddie Mercury, and all these people. I was like, dude, that's way out of my comfort zone by far, because there's singers. And then there's like just rock and roll accompany, like the regular stuff. But he wanted me to, and so I said no. I'm not. I could probably, if I practiced enough, get there in order to do it without feeling super stupid. But I felt like nah. I'm gonna spend the night in a bar with people, and I don't want that. I'm a homeboy.
So. It is funny he picked Freddie Mercury, because you kind of look like the Bohemian Rhapsody album cover now.
Well,
but a Freddie Mercury his voice, or it's just Steve Perry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Big shoes to fill.
Even if you do it half-ass, to reach half-ass of them, I mean, these guys have pipes, dude. And so, it's a great idea and stuff, but yeah.
Now, I can't carry a tune in a wheelbarrow, so I don't feel the need to inflict it on the public at large. So,
No,
you know,
not me.
No.
yeah, I avoid the karaoke microphone at all costs. I've been asked about that too. No, it's been years. Want to go to karaoke? Not just no, hell no.
Hell no.
No, I'll watch, but that's it. You know.
So, on that note of like music and this and that, from your guys' respective areas, which popular bands, or let's broaden the scope, which popular bands or groups across time, it doesn't have to be, now, it could just be, come from your areas, a famous person, music or in whatever other category that you recognize as such, or you've had an encounter with, or that just comes from your area.
So not I wouldn't say they were massively famous, but there was a duo called Chaz and Dave,
Mhm.
that were, from around, a Cockney band, from around here. Trying to think who else come from down here.
Chaz and who?
Chaz and Dave. They sang a song called Margate, and they sang a
Really?
song called sung a song called Snooker Loopy.
JP. So these are famous, locally famous, or you're saying
Yeah, locally famous.
okay, all right,
But
that's fine.
they got pretty big. I wouldn't say they got like they made it to America, not by a long shot.
Okay, that's hilarious. Skloopaloopy? What?
Snooker Loopy.
Snooker.
Like billiards and pool.
Okay, all right. How about an actor?
Actors. So Tom Hardy doesn't live not far from here. Russell Brand.
Okay, Russell Brand. He's from
Yeah.
Kent, Margate.
Well, not far from Essex.
Okay, well, he's a big deal.
Yeah.
He's a big deal in movies and internet.
Yeah.
So that's okay. You should have started with that before you.
I should have done, really, shouldn't I?
Because
Charles Dickens, the author, he lived down there once. Vincent Van Gogh lived down in near me.
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
We've got the Queen. She still lives here.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say
longer.
that's probably the most famous.
Not sure for how much longer, but she's still here.
Yeah,
it's an amazing feat. I'll tell you what. It's
All right.
it's-
I
Go
can
ahead.
add to that.
Go ahead.
From the Portland area, which is, I don't claim that as part of Oregon, but anyway, back in my day, Paul Revere and the Raiders came
Okay.
out of Portland, Oregon.
Mark Lindsay is from Eugene.
There you go.
You owe me a nickel less.
Uh-huh.
That's another time I've heard it.
And
I have my phone somewhere else. Give me 2 seconds.
about-
I'll find it.
what about the Union Gap? Let's see who come out of there. That was
Gary Puckett in the Union Gap. Yeah.
Gary Puckett. Yeah, they come out of that's up in Washington State. Let's see who else around. That's pretty much in my era. Oh, Paul Revere and the Raiders. Oh yeah, now that was some guitar playing boys. They come out of Seattle, didn't they?
Well, yeah, that's where the band kind of got together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we have a lot of celebrities that moved here, but a few celebrities that moved here, but they didn't come from here, from Medford. Jim Belushi lives here.
Oh, okay.
Kim Novak lived here. They own a ranch in Sam's Valley, not too far away from us. Kirstie Alley
Really?
lives here. Ginger Rogers lived here for many, many years. Patrick Duffy from the TV series Dallas, he lived here for
I lived
quite a
there.
while.
I lived there for back in the 1978.
78. Okay.
I lived in Medford. In fact, we got married in, excuse me, that wasn't 78, that was 67.
67.
We got married. We got married, and the day we got married in Klamath Falls, I packed up and the big stuffed animal dog that she had and her cedar chest, and we moved to Medford. And I love that country, and I wish I was still living there.
Yeah. It's not bad. And to bring this all back to the maker community, Carl Jacobson is from
Who?
here. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know that one guy, Robin's husband.
Never. Oh, Robin. Yeah, I know Robin.
Yeah, Robin's husband. That guy that Robin lives with. He and I went to
Oh,
the
yeah,
same.
yeah, yeah.
We went to the same elementary school. Several years
Yeah,
apart,
yeah.
but we went to the same school. So
Oh, okay. So I
other
wish
than
I'd
that-
started with my phone now. So there's a few more people that live or was born and maybe do live where I am from. They've got Orlando Bloom.
Oh yeah, isn't he from the Pirates of the Caribbean?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Mick Jagger.
Nope, haven't heard of him.
No, never.
imagine a 6 foot tall, 100-pound rooster.
Mm-hmm.
It's been shaven.
Yeah, that's him.
Kate Bush.
Okay.
Bob Geldof.
Oh, really?
Sid Vicious.
Wow.
Yep.
Jules Holland.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Roger Moore.
No way. No way.
The Saint.
Yeah. There's a few other Pete Doherty. Yeah, there's a couple of others.
Who's that actor that came from over there? That House. What was his name?
Oh, God, I can see his face.
Yeah.
Worked with Stephen Fry.
Oh,
Yep.
I know you're talking about.
Worked with Stephen Fry. They were together. Oh, heck, I can see his face plain as day.
Me too.
Was what's his yeah, he was in Blackadder with Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Oh, jeez. He was Bertie, what's his name on Hugh Laurie.
That's it. You got it. Yep.
Hugh Laurie.
Yep.
Good man.
Mark, is that the little one, the little actor, or the tall?
No, that's Tony Robbins.
He's a tall one. Tony Robinson's he does all the digging up now.
Yeah.
That was it's gonna bug me what his name was now.
Snow Crusher is giving us all the answers, by the way.
Yeah. And Steve gave me Hugh Laurie. I couldn't think of his name.
Speaking of that, guys, the dinner bell has just rung here in the Willamette Valley, and I best go in there and get something.
Yeah, you better get it before it gets given away.
How do I get out of this thing? How do I get out of this?
Just close the window, and thank you for jumping in with us, Les, and hope you have a good evening.
It was fun. I really enjoyed it, guys. You have a great one. Good night.
No worries. Take it easy.
Just close the thing. I'll go ahead and remove him so he doesn't embarrass himself.
All right.
Okay. There we go. I know him from he checks out my CNC videos. He sent me a couple of 3D printed parts, and I found out that he lives right up the road from me. So
is this handle Old Man River?
No, it's Les Clemens.
All right, because I just saw Old Man there.
Yeah, he just decided to use old man.
So, all right.
As a name. I never use my name on this, so I always come up with something. But well, where I was going with the cover tune thing, and I didn't know if Les was a rock and roller or not, so I kind of got away from it. Have you, and believe me, this will all come around. Have you heard of the Nagra tapes or the Nagra reels?
Can't say I have.
Nagra tapes?
Mm-hmm. Nagra tapes or Nagra reels.
No.
Okay, this is 100% about the Beatles.
The Nagra tapes?
Mm-hmm.
No, I've not.
Okay, you know about the the recent movie Get Back, where they had a bunch of different film and everything Peter Jackson used.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, there was a lot of tape, a lot of video shot for a documentary that was going to be called Let It Be. And in 1969, those tapes and recordings were stolen. It was 500 plus hours of tape,
Audio or video?
both. And they, over the years, there have been several releases from those tapes. And in fact, you can find a bunch of it online.
Niagara?
Nagra, Nagra. And Nagra is was a brand of portable recording, reel-to-reel tape. And Peter Jackson used about 90 hours of those Nagra tapes that were recovered. But about 400 hours or more is still on the cutting room floor. A lot of it's unusable because it's just a bunch of people talking. But there is a lot of stuff in the background that can be picked up and heard. There is a YouTube channel that I came across this week. In fact, I came across it Thursday, and it's called Almost Beatles Songs. And it's a very, very new channel. As it sits right now, they have 7 videos on their channel. But they are in the process of going through those Nagra tapes. If you have any interest in the Beatles at all, I would highly encourage you to look into the Nagra reels and the Nagra tapes, because it's a very interesting story behind it. There was a major police investigation, this, that, and the other, and some people were arrested in the early 2000s. And of course, cases were dropped against these people and what have you, but prosecutions were made in the Netherlands and in the UK. But it was a huge deal. Several songs were taken from these tapes and put on vinyl and sold as bootleg copies of secret Beatles albums, things like that, over the years. And this channel called Almost Beatles Songs, they're in the process of making documentaries about the entire case.
Do we get to hear some of the songs?
Yes. One of the most famous songs from these tapes is one that was never released. It was called, was it called Watching Rainbows. And it is, this channel, what they're doing is they're taking the audio from these tapes, enhancing it, and putting it together, and then putting it out on YouTube, not on vinyl or anything like that. They're not selling it, but they've got a couple of them up on their channel, and it's actually some very cool stuff.
I have it set up already, as you were saying.
I knew that you would go for it. I knew that you would go for it. Now, one of the videos they have is, in fact, it was put out a month ago. It's called The Story of the Stolen Beatles Tapes, Part 1. part 2 should be coming out pretty soon.
I have it here.
I would start there and move on, but it is extremely interesting. There are a lot of things that they were working on that they just kind of abandoned and walked away from, to include a couple of collaborations with the likes of Bob Dylan and things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting stuff. And knowing you're the Beatles fanatic that you are, this is what I was talking about earlier in Messenger, where I said, I kind of think that I kind of hope that you haven't heard of this, but I kind of suspect that you have. So it kind of surprises me that you hadn't heard of this.
Well,
Now,
I mean, I'm not like I'm focused on other things right
well,
now.
understood, but you know, it came up in my suggestions. I'm kind of surprised it didn't come up in yours. Now, Steve says there's a guy who is putting out a licensed album from the tapes called Almost Beatles. Yes, that is this guy. That's them. They're going to be putting out an album called Almost Beatles Songs, because they were Beatles songs, but they were never finished. He's finishing them. And that's where the cover part of this comes in.
Let's test you guys out. We have a honest to goodness English guy and an honest to goodness American guy. We're going to test you guys out on Beatles knowledge. I know
Here we go.
I know there's an age difference, and I know there's a location difference. I know there's all these, but regardless, we have. Well, I just gonna throw it at you and say, so what is this song? I'm just gonna name a lyric, and you have to tell me what the name of this Beatles song is. All right,
go for it.
Okay. Mother Superior jumped the gun. 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 Mother
You've already done this. You've already done this.
Go ahead, Jamie Page. And it's literally, well, it's not literally like that, but it's that is part of the lyric.
Happiness is a warm gun.
You were typing it up, you son of a gun.
How the hell am I going to type it up? My keyboard's here.
Okay. All right, so fine, you got it. Good job. That's all I got.
That was the only one. That was the test of Beatle knowledge. Okay.
All right.
Oh man.
On that note, I need to shoot to bed. It's
all right.
4 o'clock.
Yeah, but
All right. It's been real. It's been fun as always, boys.
You just to clarify, you did say shoot, right?
What in what?
Shoot to bed. You
Yeah,
did
shoot
say
to bed.
shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah,
All right. Okay.
yeah.
Why?
Oh, I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Going up the wooden hill.
All right, JP.
Yeah.
You're good.
All right. Take it easy, everybody. Take it easy, everybody out in the chat. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Okay.
Well,
on that happy note, you want to go ahead and land the plane?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, guys. So listen, we go live every Tuesday here at the Trampled Underfoot podcast channel on YouTube. So come check us out every Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific Coast time. We also have a website called trampledunderfootpodcast.com. You can catch our past episodes over there by pressing the Wayback Machine button. We have a catalog over there. And we also have a site over on Facebook where you can leave us show suggestions and check out any of the links that we post concerning the topics we touch on the show. And we're also sponsored by
Harneel Media, your web solution. If you're looking to start a web presence or increase your web presence, look no further than Harneel Media. They do logo design, they do website design, they do web hosting, as much or as little as you want them to do. They'll help you set up a web store so you can sell your items or design merch, t-shirts, baseball caps, coffee mugs, you name it. They'll take care of you. That's harneelmedia.com. That's HARNEAL media.com. Sponsor of Trampled Underfoot podcast.com.
That's right. So listen, have a safe rest of the week. Enjoy yourselves. Be happy. And roll on down that river easy and nice. Enjoy yourselves. We'll catch you next week. See ya.
Peace.